I'm not really one of those people that like, oh my gosh, it's like, okay, if you touch me, I'll be like, hey, who are you? Let's have a chat. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um,
I tell
rather,
John this all the time that he should be letting some of these ghosts that hit on him. I'm like, dude, let it see where it's not cheating if it's a ghost.
dude,
Yeah, how am I supposed to
exactly.
explain to my wife that I'm coming home with a spiritual STD, you know?
Hey, everybody. Do us a quick favor and hit follow and smash that like or subscribe button wherever you're listening right now. It'll help us keep getting great guests and make it so you don't miss the next episode. Now on with the show. Welcome to Splintered Spirits. I'm your host, Gary, and along with my nephew, John Santa from Santa Paranormal, we try and answer the question, what are spirits? This episode dives into a part of the paranormal that most people only whisper about. What happens when sexual energy, spirit activity, and human desire all collide in the same room? We're joined by Aubrey Black, an internationally recognized adult film star, creative producer, and visual artist whose multi-decade career spans photography, fashion design, health and fitness, and who also happens to come from a huge New Zealand family where having spiritual gifts is dinner table conversation. Aubrey has spent the last 15 years traveling the world, raising a family, and quietly refining her own psychic abilities that she fondly calls the weirdo, moving from fear and suppression in her teens to a grounded, investigative approach as an adult. Along the way, she's encountered entities that slip under the covers, spirits that apparently enjoy watching her intimate life, who doesn't, and a hotel ghost so excited by her presence that it learned to communicate through a lamp and later had its name confirmed by staff. Look, before we get into it, a quick content heads up. This episode contains frank discussion of sex, adult film work, and some very cheeky spirits who clearly didn't read the PG-13 guidelines. We'll keep everything within the bounds of what's appropriate for podcast platforms. There's no explicit play-by-play. But if you're listening with kids, at work, or in front of a particularly prudish ghost, you might want to pop in headphones or save this one for later. From ancestral patterns and psychic knowings to haunted hotel rooms, voyeuristic entities, and whether sexual energy can actually power paranormal phenomena, we're asking the question, how does horny and haunted go together? And what does this say about consciousness, consent, and the afterlife? Let's dive into the conversation about sex, spirits, and the strange currents that run between them with Aubrey Black. Aubrey, thank you so much for joining Splintered Spirits.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for having me here. I'm
my phone.
really excited. Really
Uh,
excited.
I couldn't believe, you reached out. I see, I always see like new followers and so-and-so's following you. I'm like, wait a minute, who's this that's following me? I know this person. And, oh yeah, I'm not even embarrassed to say, well, how I know this
I'm
person,
like,
but,
hold
and it
up.
was, and I was like, okay, but why is really the bigger question. Like, why would they be following me and Splintered Spirits, and what is it? And I had to reach out. And I
Yeah.
discovered that you have this sort of love of ghosts. So I want to dive right in on this with you because what I'm curious about is you have said that you've kept this side of yourself quiet and
Mhm.
you're almost scared to talk about it. But Aubrey, you're someone who is willing to be so vulnerable and brave and have sex on camera, but you're afraid to talk about ghosts.
Isn't that
What
funny?
Yeah, so what was happening there? What were you actually sensing when you were younger that made you feel that scared to share this side of you openly?
I think, look, within my family, it's always been fine. Um, and coming from New Zealand, most people there are pretty cool with it because it's kind of like, I guess New Zealand is known as a very spiritual place anyway. Um, but as I got older and you start to get in, especially in the industry or amongst different people, I would even just call it my weirdo. So let's say something would come up and I'd get a sense of something and I'd be like, oh shit, and I'd be like, oh, hey, da 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 da. And they'd be like, how'd you get that? And I was like, oh, don't worry about it. It's just my weirdo. Because I was so scared, because people would look at it like, okay, this, they couldn't comprehend it. They, a lot of people can't comprehend it. And so I sort of just kept it quiet. I was worried that then people would go, "Oh, she's a Fruit Loop," or maybe she's one of. There's so many people out there who are trying to do it, or I mean, they are doing it, but there's so many phonies out there that I was always scared because I would also sometimes second guess myself, even though everything would happen and be correct or
So
manifest
what
in the
was it
way
though? What is the weirdo? Is it a voice? Is it a sound? Is it an intuition? Is it goosebumps? Like what's going on? Like what is it
I get
happening?
a mix of all of that. So mine is more clear cognizance.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not, when I was younger, I was like, oh, this is clairvoyance. But I had no idea that there were even other clairs out there,
There's a ton of Claires out there.
Oh my God, so many
Right.
clairs. But for me, I get a lot of stuff when I'm asleep. That's my most powerful time. It's like as I'm falling asleep and as I'm waking up.
That's when a lot of people experience things usually
Yeah,
is
I get
that
a
time that you're
lot of
asleep.
I'm even known to speak different languages in my sleep. I've got all sorts of weird stuff that goes on. And I don't even know those languages. But I can see outlines of things. It's not that I hear a clear voice, and that's where it can be difficult for me, is that I'm like, oh shit, is that just me thinking that, especially as I was growing up? Or why did I hear that? Why am I thinking that? Why has that popped into my head? Um, and I would get it. And as I got older, I started to follow along with it, or if things would happen, I go, holy shit, I literally just thought about that. Or it was just an hour ago that popped into my head. So I had to start listening to it. You know what I mean? But yeah, when I was younger, there were a lot of really scary things that happened. Um, and I couldn't explain them. And I'd call my mum. It was just after my father had died, and he had a lot of gifts that were along the same line. And I would call her and I would literally say, what is happening to me? Am I going crazy? Um, I'm dreaming this stuff or I'm seeing this stuff or I can't sleep at night. It feels like this is happening around the room, blah, 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 blah. And which I'm really lucky because she's an elderly woman and I've been raised strictly Mormon. So, she's
Really?
Christian. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And I even practiced it into my 30s and raised my children in it. Yeah.
Okay.
And she was really open to it because sometimes there comes a point in your life when you're confronted and you see so many things happening over the years, or you're with a partner who has so many things that are happening that you just can't deny it. You're like, dude, this is real. So I was really lucky that I had her support in coaching me through these things and about the spiritual world on
What
that
was
level.
there a moment though in your adult life where you really consciously decided, okay, this is the specific moment I'm going to stop blocking this and start working with the weirdo or working with this sort
My
of
little
feeling?
weirdo.
Do you know what I mean?
Um,
Like, is there
no,
a moment where you're like, I have to really like this is cross the line. I have to figure out what's happening.
look, every now and then over the years, probably going into my 30s, I would be hanging out with people and stuff, and I'd get like this urge that I had to say stuff. And when I get that particular urge, then I will speak up and do it. I'll be like, I fiddle around with cards and whatnot. And that's more, not so much just for me, but it's like more that they can see something and then I will get more that would come through that. So I just fiddle around with that.
We mean like tarot cards? Is that what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah,
Yeah, sure.
yeah. But even then, I don't really need those, and I sort of just have them there as a assistive thing to, they can see that, and then I just off from there. And I'd get names, I'd get dates, I'd get, places, I'd get all of that stuff. So I was pretty lucky in that sense. But from my 30s, I'd do little bits and pieces, but I'd still sort of like not really tell people. And it wasn't really until the last 3 years. The last 3 years, I was in Prague and I would have so much stuff coming at me. It was like I just couldn't stop it. And I'd have people come into the house and certain things would happen. And the next minute, I would be talking to them and I'd have spiritual things coming at me and I'd talk, share with them what I was getting. And they were like, oh, you're a seer, you're a seer, because they couldn't speak English. And they're like, and that's what they started calling me, was the seer, because I would get exactly the things that were going on for them in their life. Didn't even speak pretty much the same language. We had translators and things like that, or we'd have somebody there that would share what was going on. And I just sort of opened myself up to that. Then in the last year and a half, my mother hasn't been too well. And she's been a genealogist for like over 70 years. And, so really to me, ancestors, spirit world, history, research, it kind of goes hand in hand. And she's always, like the ancestors are always talking to me. There's these messages that are coming through. We need to find this person. I've got them all around me, da 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 da. So she's not well. And then one night when I was asleep in bed, I just started getting all these names flying at me. And I was like, holy shit, what is going on? So I rang mum the next morning. I said, okay, I've got this name, this name, this name popping up. I guess I've got to do something with this.
Yeah.
I've got to. And so we talked through it, and they were actually direct ancestors' names. So I actually had names that I hadn't been involved in all this stuff when I was little. I've watched her do it. I've watched my elder sister do it. I said, okay, so I guess I have a bit of a calling. And
Do you have a big family?
I'm one of 11 children.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Okay.
all of them have stuff. Some of them much stronger than me. Some of them physically see spirits, and they can hear them and all that sort of stuff. And I get stuff that's really strong and a lot of pretty cool stuff that happens to me. But I'm just like, dude, I don't know if I could handle seeing them. But that's what I was like when I was younger. Now I'm like, bring it. I want to see you. I've really embraced it. In the last year and a half, 2 years, I'm so not scared of it at all now. And so I find that wherever I go, it's like I'm so open to it that everything is just coming at me and it's not affecting me the way it would have when I was younger. Mm.
Well, one of the other reasons what's great about having you on and your interest in this is because even from the very first person I interviewed for this podcast, this guy, Professor Lloyd Auerbach, and he was telling me a story about, and I think I shared this with you, about how one of his investigations was a haunting, and it
Uh-huh.
was an imprint of spiritual of on someone's house, and it
Uh-huh.
turned out to be um the sex life of the former owners. They weren't dead. They had such amazing sex in this house that they left like a spectral sex tape imprint on it for eternity. Like,
But the next door neighbor, he had just come home from work, and he said, "Well, the only thing I could say that was kind of odd was in the summer, late summer, in the early fall, in the spring, we have our windows open. We didn't have air conditioners on, and every once in a while, my wife and I would get woken up in the middle of the night by the sounds of the two of them going at it like wildcats." And he points from that bedroom over there. So whoever this couple was, they left a heck of a imprint behind. And so I got the number from this guy, this neighbor. I got the number of the guy who used to own the house, who was at that point in his very late 20s, very early 30s. And I called him on Monday morning because I was up there on a Friday and explained who I was. And he was curious when I said American Society for Psychical Research. He says, "What are you calling for?" And I said, "Well, the couple who living there seem to think that the house is haunted." And he got very defensive all of a sudden because he thought maybe they wanted out of the deal, even 6 months later.
right.
So I interrupted him and it said, "What does 3 o'clock in the morning mean to you and your wife?" And there was silence. And he said, "Okay, tell me what's going on." So I explained it, and then he said, "Well, yeah, my wife and I used to get up. He said, I'm not going to go into the story as to why, but it was kind of a ritual for us. We'd wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and we go at it. I guess we were a little bit loud."
So unbeknownst to this poor couple made a spectral sex tape without even realizing it.
Pretty much,
Like,
yeah.
which are like life goals for
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
else. And it and
I
they
wonder
and it
if
was
I've done that and don't know. I'm like, how many houses have I fucked up? I mean,
that's right. Right. And it's so that started something. And then even John, you've said you've come across spirit in some of your places that are very sexually charged. And
Last night, I was at a
stop
place
it.
last night.
so
I was at a brothel last night, an old brothel, and it was.
You were at a brothel last night?
now, Aubrey, now that you're feeling this weirdo that you feel, right?
Yeah.
Do you ever get a sense or more or less of this sensitivity in an intimate sexual instance, or do you feel that energy is heightened or not, or are you in control more or less?
Oh, look, in sexual situations, it's quite interesting. Like, because for me, it's like you could look at something and go, "Is this just energy, that I'm putting out?" Like I said to you the other day how I mess up devices and stuff. So sometimes it's like, am I just putting out an energy that's affecting this, or is this something else that's coming through? And I have had situations like I do think I do absolutely believe in what you just discussed and with this guy and being able to leave these imprints in our energy, if you put it out there that much, if it's that intense and you're that connected with somebody, that absolutely you can do that. But then there's other situations where I'm like, we got a kinky ghost on our hand? Oh,
Share,
you little naughty little pervert. Like, what are you doing? You
yeah,
know,
share the story. Share the story. You started telling me about a story about you were staying with a witch and you sort of a ghost tried to sneak up on you and tell that. Share that.
Oh,
Share
it
that
sounds
ghost story.
so cuckoo, but it is so true. So
Oh,
I
we'd
had
love
a
to hear it.
Yeah.
I had a really good friend and in the industry, and I was staying at her house for a couple of months, and she is a practicing witch. Like since birth, she's born into a family of witches, and so when you go to her house, like my children wouldn't even walk into the house. They were like, the energy is no, 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 no. They could feel it. They were like, we're not going in there, Mum. I was like,
And
come stay.
where is she located? What's like what
Vegas.
in Vegas? Okay,
Yeah,
a witch,
in
a
summer, in the
Vegas witch.
yeah, in the Summerlin area.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, I'm there at the house and one night she's gone. You could always feel stuff in the house anyway. I mean, with the things that she obviously was practicing and stuff, I always felt safe. I didn't feel like there was anything bad coming at me. But one morning I'm lying in bed and I'm half asleep. And I did wake up, so I was aware of what was happening. This was not some little imaginative thing. Um, and I felt the bottom of the blankets lifting up. And I could feel something. I was like, "Is that the cat? The cats don't those cats don't even like other humans." So, I'm like, "What's going on here?" So I'm just lying there for a minute, and then I feel what felt like a person literally climbing under the blankets and getting into the bed and coming up my legs. And I was like, "What the fuck?"
Right.
Like, who is this? Because most chicks would probably go, yeah, and me, I'm just like, "Oh, what the fuck is that?" So I'm like lying there and I was like, and then I looked and I was like, hold on a minute. Okay, I know where I am. There's only one possible thing for this. So I look under the blankets. I was like, bro, I'm tired. And in hindsight, I kind of regret it because I should have actually just allowed it to see what would happen.
The
And it,
ghost?
yes,
I
For
love it.
I would
For
absolutely,
science.
For science. Right. You should have slept with a ghost for
I
science to
should
see what
have.
a
For
And then I could
science.
say I did it, and just, yeah. So that literally did happen. And I did mention it to my friend. She goes, oh, yeah, he's kind of fun. I was just like,
Oh.
girl, could you have at least warned me that some boogeyman was going to creep in my bed? At least give me like a bit of a heads up as to what he's into.
That's a whole other different side of things.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
funny
it
though.
is. It is a different side of things. Like I'm into it all. I mean, I'm open to everything. I've spent the last however many months just how many cemeteries? Oh, I swear to God, I've spent in so many cemeteries, so many haunted places. I'm just seeking
You're
it
really
all out.
embracing it. You're
Oh
really
yeah,
embracing it. You're
I'm
going all in.
taking it all on.
What
But
about okay? And you mentioned electrical devices. Share your story about this lamp and this communication you had
okay, so
because that's an interesting one too from the
I
from
was
the
gonna
beginning. Right?
I was gonna send you the video last night, but I will actually send you the video.
Oh yeah, I would love it.
Yeah, yeah. Because I was trying to decide which part to send you. There's nothing in there that's actually explicit. There's nothing that
Yeah.
shows anything.
Okay.
But what happened was basically, we were driving through a little town in Ireland. So this was only about 6 weeks ago. And I randomly decide this is what I do every now and then. I just get this random thing. We're going to stop here and stay here the night. And I found this little spot, and it's not some fancy hotel or anything. It's just like used to be a pub with rooms on top, cute little town and close to what I needed to do. Anyway, we went in there and I feel an energy straight away. And I was like, ooh, this could be fun. But I was like, It doesn't say haunted online. There's nothing like that, whatever. Anyway, Jax and I decided to have a little bit of fun, right? And typically when we do the
This is
stuff
your
like
husband. This is your husband.
yes,
Yes. Yeah.
yes, yes. So Jax and I decided to have a little bit of fun, and he was getting more and more worked up. Get my thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
And then I was just like, okay, this must be an energy thing, because the lamp started sort of flickering away and carrying on, and it hadn't been doing anything like that.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, it's doing, that thing. He must be really, really worked up. And it carried on and on to the point that I just went, okay, I'm going to turn this off, right? And when everything was over and done with, I turned the lamp back on, and the lamp was just, still just normal, carried on like that. And he started talking, saying something kind of cute and sexy, and the lamp started, and I was like, so I just watched it for a little bit. And then I decided to, ask a couple of questions, because I was about to go to sleep. I was dozing off, and I was like, oh, okay. So I literally asked it some questions. I said, did you like what was happening there? Did you like what was happening in the room before? And the lamp goes, I was like, okay, okay. I was like, okay, settle down, calm down. I said, and so I did the whole, can you step away from the lamp for me? Right. So there is the whole series of me asking questions, and I'm like, okay, what we're going to do is I'm
Wait, when
going
you
to
say
ask.
step away from the lamp, you told your husband to step away from the
No, no,
lamp.
no, no. Well, he wasn't right by it. I said to the
Oh.
spirit, I said,
Oh, you
okay.
said spirit. Okay.
Yeah. So I said, okay, you're communicating through the lamp. I said, cool, you're doing so well. I said, look, can you just step away from the lamp for me for a moment so that I know this is you, or if this is just a fault with the lamp, right? So I was like, okay, and away from the lamp stops. I go, now go back to the lamp, touch the lamp for me and make it blink again so that I know it's you. It goes. So I'm like, okay, cool, we've got this down pat. So I said, I'm going to ask you some questions now. I said, if you don't mind, So I asked it a few questions, and I basically asked it, did you enjoy watching that? Or did that excite you? And it was like, yes, 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 yes. And then, then my husband pops out, oh, do you wish you could have that, do you? Do you watch many people like that? I was like, you got to wait for the lamp to stop blinking before you ask questions. So he's new to it all, but he's totally embraced it, because he comes from a family that's got spiritual things as well.
Shit.
But anyway, basically I go through the series of questions. I ask, are you a man? Go back to the lamp, touch the lamp, go away from the lamp. And every time I do it, it goes in sync. So I do actually have that video on hand.
The following video contains sequences of flashing lights and strobing effects, which may affect viewers with photosensitive epilepsy or other photosensitivities. Fast forward accordingly.
Okay, all right.
Are you a man?
Ah, okay.
You communicate very well through the lamp. Good going. It's actually really fantastic that you can do this. Can you stop now to show me that you can communicate properly? Stop for me for a moment. Go away from the lamp just for a second. Just for a second. Thank you. Thank you so much. Just step away. Step away. Good.
Whoa.
Now go back to it so I can see that you can do this. Thank you.
What?
That is good job. Good job. You are doing so well.
This is awesome.
I really appreciate you doing it. Now stop. Go away again for me for a moment. Just for a moment. Step away. Step away so we can see that this is you doing this.
Could you stop flashing the light for just a second, please?
Thank you. Brilliant job. Do you want to talk with him? Do you want to talk with him? Are you enjoying his company? Yes. Oh, he's brilliant. I can understand why you want to talk with him.
Do many people talk back with you when you try to communicate like this?
Stop for a moment. Stop for a moment. Thank you. Thank you. You're doing such a brilliant job. You're doing such a brilliant job. Am I okay to talk with you as well? Thank you. I appreciate that, because I know at first you weren't sure about me. I didn't want to bother you too much.
Hang on. Were you the same person that we were talking to earlier?
I was sitting there, I was getting this thing in my head, and I was like, I'm getting the name Johnny. I'm getting the name Johnny. You know, I hadn't been watching your grave cleaning, so it wasn't. Yeah. Hey, John.
Thinking about John during this whole next
John,
thing.
Johnny.
That energy's coming
John.
through.
Yeah, right. Listen, if you brought up
Naughty,
my name,
naughty.
the bulb would have popped. You know?
So I got the name Johnny. And then the next morning, basically, you know, as we were checking out to leave, so the night had been interesting. I bumped into the cleaning lady, and she was really lovely. And I go, "Hey, I just want to let you know, I had the room was very active last night, and I'm not talking about us." And she's like, "What do you mean?" So I give her the story of what's happened, and at first she's trying to be like, I'm not sure what you mean." Da, da. And I said, "Okay, so I got the name Johnny and this and that," and she just went white, right? And she's like, "Okay, well, normally we wouldn't talk about this, but we do have a guy here that we call John." And she goes, "And this was his home. This is a very old place. This was his home for many years. Room 7 over there, not our room, but another one over there, was actually his room right up until he died. You know, his brother was here, everyone was here, but literally we feel him here all the time. And, you know, he makes himself known, and we believe that it's John because it only started happening when John passed away." And I said, "Well, I got the name Johnny, and this is what he was doing." And I said, "And, you know, without too many gory details, you know, he seems like an interesting guy." Anyway, so she was just like, you know, giving us all his background story and whatnot. So we went away for about a week and a half and decided we would go back for a night, you know, to visit so we could see if Johnny would interact again. And we went back and we met 2 of his old friends that they've been friends since they were childhood. And they were fixing the room that was his, but somebody had ruined it, you know, flooded it out or whatever. And when I told them the story, they were all really excited and whatnot. Went through to the room. The lamp actually started doing the same thing again, right? But it was just stagnant, whatever. I asked a few questions. It went off a little bit. And then I said, you know, what's going on? Because I had this really weird sense that he wasn't happy. I said, "Are you angry that, you know, about what's happened to your room?" Oh, the lamp went to the point that there was no, you know, and then we just had to turn it off. It was like, you know, carrying on. It was just crazy.
Maybe he was just being pervy and he wanted to watch you and your husband go at it again.
He's like,
Yeah.
he's like, "Can you just shut up and get busy already?
Yeah.
Like, stop talking to me."
Yeah. It's like, oh, you're back.
Mm.
China's been dead for a while.
Exactly. So and then I went out to the hallway and I was talking to the woman there, and I was saying, "Yeah, I don't think he's very happy." She goes, "Yeah, I've had that sense this week." Anyway, one of the little old men come running around. They go, Aubrey, can you come with me? Come with me. Look at this." And I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "Oh, because they're in the room." And they said there was a little thing on the shelf. There was no way it could have moved or anything like that. They go, "I don't know what's going on, but all of a sudden that went flying across the room. This glassing went flying across the room and smashed across the other wall." And I was just like, "Yeah, he's kind of pissed. All right, guess we better get
Wow.
busy." So that was an interesting little spot. But you know, that's
Wow. Now,
probably not.
you saw the light and you
Mhm,
said you got a feeling about the place when you went in there.
mhm.
Did those kind of feeling, you know, what was that? Did it
What
feel
is
like
it?
a safe feeling? Did it feel,
Oh, it felt
what?
cool. Like
Okay.
it felt good. I could just feel when I go into a place and there's things there that we can't necessarily see, I can feel the things around me. And I do, and if I speak about it and it's true, you know, I get the whole goosebumps up my head. I can sometimes feel things touching me and stuff like that. So I walked in there and I was like, oh, this has got some presence here, you know,
Well,
and
Aubrey, how do you set boundaries for yourself, or do you set boundaries for yourself with this? This feels very like, you know, is there, I mean, in other words, is there an obligation for a spirit to respect human consent? You know what I'm saying? In terms of, and how do you set those boundaries for yourself?
hmm hmm
Because you're obviously very adventurous
yeah.
and, you know, so Do they
Well,
just
now that
feel
I've
they got a
decided to
free?
go for it, I might as well,
Yeah, right. But I mean, still, it's like, do they think like, oh, I mean, what does that make sense to you? Does that question
Yeah,
make like, how would you
yeah.
have you come across a situation then where you've had to set a boundary?
Well, I guess that's what more so when I was younger that I didn't know really what was happening, and it took a long time to learn how to block it, but I had to block things because I didn't really know how to set those boundaries.
Mm.
It was just like everything was coming at me and not necessarily good things, and it was quite terrifying, and it happened for a few years, and then finally I just learned how to block it out. Um, and a lot of it came into my own thoughts, no, 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 and things that mum would get me to do. And that was more on a religious sense. So some people will believe in it and some people won't. They'll say prayers can't do this. To me, it's pretty much if you believe in something enough, that's the whole thing of the power of the mind. It's like some people, they do saging, and some people, they say a prayer, or they'll say, something in particular, or I might wear this thing, which is a protective thing. And
Oh,
and,
okay.
and if you and
What
if
is
you
that
believe,
thing? What is that thing?
this is whalebone. It's called a taonga, which is a protected. It's a blessed protective thing. It's a Maori carving, and basically it's supposed to incorporate all your different ancestral lines and a protection for when you go into spiritually charged places. So,
With your ancestral work and your
uh,
family lineage that you've dove into,
yeah,
have you come across stories of other people that have experienced these things
and out of
other than your immediate family, but like in the past?
yeah. So it's been really cool because to me it's like if people I've been trying to help quite a few other people, they'll go, oh my gosh, the stuff you're finding is so cool. I'm like, if you are in a position to learn more about your ancestors, and I'm talking not just the historical stuff, meaning like, oh, they were from here and here and here, but to find out what different traits they have, personality traits, gifts, all these different things. It is quite mind blowing. So for me, it really, really opened my mind up to this even more, because I have found out that on all of the lines in my family, from my father's side and my mother's side, it is absolutely saturated with this shit. I'm just like, oh, no wonder. And also, no wonder I'm a stubborn little thing. I mean, it's like I'm a mix of Maori, Scottish, and Scandinavian, and I'm like, those are some pretty interesting lines. But through the Scottish lines, I've got some ancestors like way, way back who were known as seers and dreamwalkers. On the Maori side, I mean, that's just naturally something that sort of just comes part and parcel, really, being a
What is
Maori.
that? Wait, what is that?
Okay, I just realized you'd be like, what the hell?
What's
Uh,
I don't even know what you just said.
Maori, Maori, that is the natives of New Zealand.
Okay. Got it, got it,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah. So, like in Australia, they have Aborigines and, that sort of thing. So, New
Not to be
Zealand.
confused with hobbits
Hmm,
or people in
little
Middle Earth. That's all I know about New Zealand. I would love to go to New Zealand though. I'm
that
dying.
is one thing. So many people people always like, why do they say Australia? I'm like, because everyone knows Australia. You say New Zealand, they're like, oh, what, Lord of the Rings, a Hobbit,
Yeah.
or an
I don't want to
orc.
go to Australia. I look at Australia like Monster Island. Like I have no desire. I feel like everything in Australia probably wants to kill me. From the creatures, the spiders, the sharks. It's
The women.
that's a death I would welcome. But it's like from everything else there, it's just like Monster Island. But New Zealand
No.
looks beautiful. My neighbor recently moved and retired there.
In New Zealand?
Yeah, to New Zealand.
Oh, New
And it's
Zealand. I always say if there's a zombie apocalypse, I've got some coordinates I'll send to cool people and they can meet us there.
yes.
So, and lots of
That's
haunted
what
stuff
a lot of the
too.
billionaires say that when they're asked, they go, "Where would you go?" And they're like, what's all these like AI and reports to say if there's an apocalypse, what's the safest place? And they say New Zealand, and they
Hmm.
forget that listen, you might be safe, but the rest of the world is dust. So have fun living on this one safe place where nothing can come in.
Exactly. And then all the those people end up in that place. You're like, and then we'll be like, now we have to get rid of you.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's crazy. It's crazy.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No,
Uh,
continue.
so when you're, look, when you're working in a highly sexualized environment with
Uh-huh.
performers and other sex workers, hotels, practitioners, does that that erotic, that sexual energy make you feel? Are you feel totally safe in there in terms of from now this new side of you because you might open new doors, or how is this?
I think I feel good anyway. Like you asked if if I've just opened up a can of basically a can of worms,
Yeah,
and
like
what
a
am I doing to
Pandora's box
protect
of
it?
spiritual, like,
Yeah,
up,
yeah.
new
I
new
think
new girls in, right?
I
You know,
think I'm so strong in my mind, like I really am. I'm very, very strong in my mind, and that I honestly feel like we've gone to so many places, like Scotland. I said to you, you guys need to go to Scotland. Oh my gosh, it is incredible, and it is so charged in terms of all this sort of stuff. I mean, it's such an old place and has so much history and so much that's going on. It's just everywhere you go, you can just feel it coming at you. And I'm not really affected by it, but I believe it's because of where my head is mentally. And you can actually put up protective things in place that guard you from that while at the same time being open receptive to it. Because I'm basically like, okay, I will allow you to come to me. Like you said, what if they touch you? Do they have permission? I'm like, I'm not really one of those people that are like, oh my gosh, it's like, okay, if you touch me, I'll be like, hey, who are you? Let's have a chat. You know what I mean?
right.
Um,
I tell
rather,
John this all the time that he should be letting some of these ghosts that hit on him. I'm like, dude, let it see where it's not cheating if it's a ghost.
Dude. Yeah, how am I supposed to
exactly.
explain to my wife that I'm coming home with a spiritual STD, you know?
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's
It's not
hilarious.
cheating if it's a ghost, bro.
I don't think it is. I
It's
mean,
not.
maybe
Well,
once you're a ghost, you'll get over the other side. And if she's like, hey, remember me? And you'll be like, oh, geez, okay.
yeah,
Now that
yeah,
I can
yeah,
see you.
Right.
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah, right?
but
Yeah.
yeah, but then there's people like
You
my
get
partner for
catfished.
Yeah. The
Catfished by the
ultimate
dead.
catfishes. The
Really.
ultimate catfishes.
oh,
Right.
it's so funny. Oh, we're all catfish. Oh my gosh, especially with all our hoe filters and stuff. It's crazy and AI. But no, so I'm pretty cool with, like things approaching me. And if I get a sense that something's bad, I get that sense pretty quickly. And I have my little things. I still use the stuff my mum gave me when I was little, the little things that we would say at church, that will help me get rid of something that feels a little bit more overwhelming. Or for example, my husband gets very affected by stuff. So if we go somewhere and stuff is happening and I can sense it, I can see it on him pretty quickly because all of a sudden he looks like he's stoned or something, it looks like he's going to go fall asleep in a corner and he's affected for most of the day. So we've put a few little things in place, and whether it's psychological or not, it has helped. But for me, I'm just open to it now. I'm like, bring it on. you know,
Right.
I feel strong enough in my mind to be able to protect myself and the people around me. But who knows? I mean, I might go into some place one day and be like, holy shit, what am I dealing with here? I need to call, you guys.
Yeah. No, Carl, listen, I don't know shit about it. Well, I just like talking. I like getting other people's perspectives, which leads me to the question I ask all of our guests is, what do you think you're dealing with? What do you think spirits are? What do you think, and what do you think happens when we die? What are these things that are
I
talking to
mean,
you?
spirits, I mean, basically, like most, well, not everyone, but a lot of people, it's energy, we are energy. We come into these bodies, we're here for our time to do what we have to do. And once we go and we move on, we literally, we still exist and we're still here. Some people, I'm of a few minds when it comes to the whole reincarnation thing, when they say multiple lives and all that sort of stuff. That's something that I have to sort of stretch my mind into a bit further. But given the experiences that I've had, and especially my siblings, when they've physically seen like my father or sister or another brother or something like that who've passed away and actually, had them there face to face and the messages that they've got from them and things, I'm just like, can't really argue that. So, and I mean, I also pick up on all of that. I just don't physically see them. But I believe that we are energy. We still exist. We don't die as such. This is just a container. You know what I mean?
It's a meat sack.
Yes. Does that make you feel? Have you ever been afraid of death? And is this new embracing of your sort, of who you
I'm not.
are, make you afraid of it less, or
Death would
what is your
only scare.
perspective of it? Yeah.
To me, I think I deal with death quite well because, like I said, there's been quite a few people in my family who have passed away, so I'm quite accustomed to dealing with, I guess, the grief of losing family members. And quite often when people say, "Oh, this person's gonna die, it's so sad," I'm like, well, just think of it this way: they're free of this body, this life, their bills, their this, their that. It's us, the people left behind, who are grieving. We're the ones who miss their physical presence. But if you can, just remember that they're right there with you, and you can communicate with them. It does take work to learn how to do that, and not everyone will be able to do it. But death for me, the only thing I think I'd be scared of is like, oh no, have I got everything in place for my children?
Like the rest,
That,
like everybody would, like
yeah,
everybody
yeah,
always
that's
does
the
that.
only thing that scares me about it. Otherwise I'd be like, okay, let me become, I'm going to go and haunt somebody now, and I'm going to be a mosquito buzzing in this person's ear. Who am I going to haunt?
Right. Got right. Right.
Yeah.
Who did you hate and you want to maybe get back at?
Oh,
Well,
yeah, just who was a pain in my ass, and now I'm gonna come and be a pain in your ear, and you can't even smack me out of the way. So,
Aubrey, what's
yeah.
next? Like, what's the next 10 years? With this, is it more of this space? Are you, how do you,
Eh,
what are
eh,
you up to? What's
there's
going
there's
on?
there's a mix of things. Like at the moment, like I'm doing I've been away for a couple of years, not necessarily by choice, but I'll be doing come back with film. But it won't be for that long, to be honest. I'm kind of really ready to focus on other things. Um,
What's the lifespan for your industry? I mean, in terms of,
I
you
mean,
know what I mean?
look at Nina Hartley. She's still going. There's granny porn out there.
Oh
You
my
know,
God. Well, I mean, it's
look,
like, and I'm in no way calling you a granny. I mean, it's like, I think we're the same age, which is like,
but I am a granny.
you give me a dream to look as good as you do with this. I can't
Oh,
believe
you're
it.
so sweet. Thank you.
It's
I do have
bananas.
2 grandsons, so I am technically I'm a meme.
Oh my God, that's
Oh,
amazing. That's
yeah.
outrageous. That's outrageous. But what is it like? What is it? Like how long do you really want to keep doing it, and versus what's the next phase? Or would you do
Uh,
it forever if you could?
Once upon a time, I would have said, "Oh, I'll just keep going, I'll just
Right.
keep smashing and banging and blah, 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 what,
Sure. Right.
whatever."
Right.
But now it's like there's a part of me with doing the journey that I'm doing with all the ancestral research, my creative stuff is coming back in. I'd rather go running around cemeteries and haunted places forever and come up with gory, cool, fun stories than, and even if it incorporated my work, okay, cool. But to me, there is going to come a point where I'll wind that down. And if anything, I'll probably be directing on the other side again, because I was behind the camera for 20 years before I came into the industry.
Is it like
So
it just? I'm also a little curious about the industry in terms of the financials of it, and is it
is
because
it
of the
lucrative?
what's that?
Is it lucrative?
Yeah, is it like how do you? I don't know, like, unless you're doing it, on. I understand OnlyFans. You're self-employed, you're entrepreneurial, and you're making sort of, people are paying you a subscription to see you.
Yeah.
But doing it for other people, I mean, what's like nowadays? It's all free online. You could it's so ubiquitous and so
It,
the
it
gateway to
keeps
entry is so easy. I don't know where the money is for
it
the
keeps you valid.
performer.
It keeps you valid.
What keeps you valid?
If you perform with the big companies still,
Uh huh.
it keeps you current and valid as an actual star, because it is very hard to get into. I mean, like, they might bring, a whole ton of girls who come through, splash in the pan. You notice they keep the same guys
Right.
forever. You're lucky if you get in if you're a man, but, the girls will come and go. But once you've shot with them, and if you have shot, more than one scene and you've done a few things or continue throughout the years, it keeps you valid as an actual star. There's a lot of people out there who consider themselves adult stars, and they're OnlyFans, creators. But in terms of our industry, we look at those people, okay, you're talented, you're great, but you are a content creator. You're not actually, a porn star, because if you were, you would have been recognized through these, avenues, and you would have done the hard yards,
Right.
and that's kind of how the industry sees it. It's like, yeah, cool. Um, but I definitely will be going back and shooting some more stuff with some of the big companies, browsers and whatnot. And again, that's just going to give more validity. I'm still here. I haven't retired.
Right.
And then it sort of drives people over to your other platforms as well. Ooh, what else does she have? You know,
Right.
if they've
Right.
forgotten.
No,
Yeah.
no, sure. I mean, I'm just curious. Like, yeah, if as you want to be more entrepreneurial, it seems like that you have to have your own sort of setup.
And you have to have a few things going, not, you can't have all eggs in one basket, as they say.
Sure, sure.
So, yeah.
Where would you like to promote, and where do you want the people to find you now?
Where would they find me now? I
Yeah, like where do you
mean,
want them to go? Do you want? Is it an OnlyFans thing still, or what are you up to, or what's the?
I'm still on OnlyFans, but there
Yeah.
is a platform that is incredible, and even you guys should look at it. I sound like I'm doing a big plug right now, but it is not just adult, and it's called subs.com. And you can actually do long form stories. It's got the For You pages, it's got, if you want to follow or if you want to subscribe, it's got everything. And
Subs.com,
mhm,
subs.com. And we can
yes,
find you. And what's your handle on that? Is it Aubrey Black or A Black or what is it?
Aubrey Black.
Aubrey Black. Okay. I just want to make sure, we put it up, tell people where to
Thank
go
you.
for you. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Um,
But you guys are awesome. I know we've jumped around all over
no,
the
no, we're
place,
jumping around. I'm sorry. I still got a couple more questions for you too
Oh,
in this
yay.
space, especially in, because it is this next phase and you are embracing it more and you're going to these weird locations and it seems like you're letting your intuition drive you
Oh, that
a,
is absolutely what
a
I
little
do.
bit,
Have you ever
more.
had any strange occurrences on set? Speaking of sexual energy and whatnot, things are going down, things are powerful, and equipment failure out of nowhere that
Oh,
shouldn't have
oh, that.
happened.
So I did mention that in a message that I had sent through, but you probably didn't. You wouldn't have seen that, I don't think. Um, I have a tendency to fry equipment. So so that's where I look at that and I go, this is an energetic thing. This is something that I put out in my body. So that's where I was like, oh, I wonder how many places I've left an imprint on and I don't even know. There's
Right.
probably, somebody hearing some screaming and banging going on over there.
Sure.
But for a while, some of the companies that are like, oh, this is bullshit. I was like, hey, just letting you know, this is what's happened over the last, year. Every time I do this, especially as not past acting stuff, but once we get into the heated stuff and the energy is flowing, you might want to make your camera gear may malfunction, or you might want to move some of your really good equipment that you're not using right now, or the hard drives, into another room. So at first I was just like, shut up, stop it. And then it starts happening, that these are brand new. What's going on? I'm like, oh, don't know. I told you, we're right in the heat of it all and it's getting hot and heavy. Yes, your camera has just absolutely blacked out. Sorry about it. Or your computer just shut down and now they can't get it going again. So for me, that's something that happens on a lot of the film sets that I'm on. And that's not every time. And it depends on I guess, the person that I'm shooting with at the time. If there's a good chemistry, you've got a good scene going, I'm putting everything into it. Then as it's getting more and more intense, yeah, bye.
How do you now? You said you were behind the camera for many years, and you
Yep.
filmed and you're producer. So you're a producer, a creator.
Uh-huh.
What do you think you would? How would you bring that skill set into this new space of paranormal investigation for you? What would you do differently than anybody else?
Oh,
And you've seen, and how would you capture what it is that you're giving off and receiving, so that people can relate to what you're receiving?
that's a good question. That is a good question. Like, for me, I don't know that I've even looked into that right now. All I
Well, you
know
got
is
to
I've
look
been.
into it, Aubrey. What are you doing?
No, so
It's
I'm like,
like
okay, guys, let's work it
you
out.
can't just keep
What are we gonna
you can't just keep
do?
sitting out there banging in front of lamps and hoping they flicker. You got to figure out how to capture this stuff so that you
No, oh no, I
become
see
a
what you're saying. I
premier
thought you
ghost
just meant.
investigator and
Oh, my
paranormal
head
investigator.
was still in the other, area of work. No, so yeah, it did start off as we were going to be doing this whole ancestral tour, right? And we were going to be filming it all, and we were going to be capturing everything. And it was cool. And then within the first few weeks, I just went cut. This just it's not feeling right. It's not
Mhm.
feeling right. We need to work out exactly what we're doing here. I feel like this is more of um, a scouting thing for me at the moment, because we've ended up in so many places that I did not expect us to end up in, or for the things that we've discovered when we're there, or, the energy in some places. I'm just like, we don't even have time to capture what really should be captured here. So for
Mhm.
me, it's like, okay, we can do this ancestral journey, we can come to these places, but for me, I actually just want to show it all. I mean, whether has a ghost hunter, or I'm filming my stuff and next minute, a ghost joins the party, I'm gonna go with the flow and trust my intuition as it evolves, which included just stopping the whole ancestral filming thing and going, no, this is going down a different route. This is, yeah.
Right,
So
right.
I don't know
Well,
if I answered you well enough there,
well,
but
look, it's not a trick question. And you might not have thought of it yet, but it is something I think you should start thinking about. If this is a real avenue for you and it's something you're really curious about, and if feelings are getting not only stronger as you get older, but
mm,
you're more open to entertaining them.
I think,
How do you capture it, right? Like, is the
yeah,
question. That's what we
I
all
think,
look. That's what. And by the way,
mm,
this is what every ghost hunter on the earth is trying to figure out, how to capture this shit. It's like, what is it that we're doing? How do we prove that it exists? But you come at it from such a unique angle that
yeah.
how do you make people understand what it is you're feeling is the
Without,
key.
yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like that's where, like, people they have their REM pods and they have this and that actually helps give validation to what's happening, or what's going on around them. Because I can turn and say, I'm feeling this. Look at the goosebumps on my arms. I can do all that sort of stuff. And it's like, they'll be like, oh, you fucking Fruit Loop. I'll be like, I feel it. I know it. So yeah, obviously I have to have other things in place. I think we might use the same app, Transcend.
I use Transcend there. Yep.
I don't know if we're allowed to say that.
No, no, yeah,
Yeah,
you
we're
can
allowed to
say it.
say.
Yeah, John
Yep.
rotates through apps constantly.
Yeah,
That's
I
part of the,
rotate through them all. That's one of the ones I do use.
and that's one
Yeah.
of the wild things about. That gives, I think, John a little bit more validity than a lot of people, because it's the reactions and
Yeah.
the documentation he gets from rotating apps validates the fact that when around him, he is
hmm
having spirit communication. It doesn't matter the tool that he's using, right?
Yep, exactly. Like for me to sit there and I think I spent half a day watching your reels and stories. I was like, oh my God, has that many hours gone past? And I don't normally do that unless I'm like, this is pretty legit, or I like the energy of this person, or I like the way this is going. This does not seem like bullshit. You know what I mean? So I did actually watch long enough and listen, because there's so many people I've seen. I'm just like, this is so full of shit. No,
Yeah.
no, no, no. And like there was some things, like even in some of the podcasts that you guys had come up, and I was just like, when people seemed a little bit dismissive or trying to turn it into, well, it could possibly be this or it could possibly be that. I'm like, the dude isn't going to have the same sort of things come through in different places, and that little butthole ghost who's in your place, you know.
Oh, you're talking about Edward. Oh yeah.
Edward,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the one from downstairs, and he was being horrible
Yeah.
in your kitchen the other day. That I was like, it's like it's not you're going to have different sounds and different energy, or different. It's going to say different things to you, but this one is persistently says the same horrible things to you.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
is
Yeah. I
coming
Yes.
get it a
through an
lot.
app. Yeah,
When I
so
first got into this with John, he said to me, he's like, "Yeah, we can go down to the basement, but there's a guy down there. He's gonna say he's always mean. He's always gonna be nasty to me, and it's just get ready for it." And it's like, I'm like, "All right, dude, whatever." And then of course it's you
yeah,
get in there and it does that.
yeah.
Uh, I don't mind.
Well,
I don't mind the skeptical people, or the people who doubt. It all paints a picture, and
mm,
everyone comes at it from a different place, which I find interesting.
yeah.
Same reason I
I don't
find what
mind,
you
because
do
if you
interesting.
can challenge me, then that's cool. That's fine. I don't mind somebody saying that sounds like nonsense. I'm like, okay, I can see that.
Yeah, of
That's
course.
cool.
I mean, shit, man, we're talking about ghosts. I mean, it sounds like that's it. It's like, it's really easy to say, to look at the lamp story, right?
Yeah,
And say, okay, there's something wrong with this is an old place. There's probably something wrong with the electrical
the
thing. But right.
electrics.
And it's really and there may very well be. And the interesting though, what I look at it is, but why is there a consistency with Aubrey doing
Mm-hmm.
it? Other
Mhm.
people might be going in and getting that same flickering light, but maybe when they ask a question or if they realize they try to ask a question, it doesn't do anything. It's not as
Mhm.
consistent.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I find interesting about this space, because I do think there's something to do with the energy of the person
I
and
agree with
less
that.
about, you know, the ghosts or the energy of the ghost. I think it requires the living to get the reaction from the dead. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree with that because so many people are closed off to it. And I mean, it's like even with children and stuff, you know, I've seen so many of them over the years. They're so open to it when they're little and whatnot. And some will continue to be open to it. And then, you know, as time goes on, they're closed off. But even my little grandson, he sees stuff literally, and he'll go to me, and I don't talk to him about anything like that. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm not allowed to talk about that stuff. You know, I'm like, you know, I'll get in trouble if I say anything. And he's like, we gotta hide. And I'm like, what are we hiding from? He goes, the ghost, Mima. I'm like, what ghost? And so we're under this blanket. He's like really trying to bury me in this blanket. And then he goes, but Mima, it's weird. He has eyes, a nose, and a mouth like me and you. This is when he's 3, you know, and he's telling me all this stuff about, no, okay, he's gone now. We can come out. I was just like, okay,
That's creepy.
yeah,
That is
yeah.
super creepy.
Yeah, so when little kids do stuff like that, they've got no reason to know about ghosts or about things or, you know, so innocent. So I'm just like, all right, yep,
Right.
we'll do that. So,
That makes sense.
yeah.
John, you got anything to follow up? I mean, I'm feeling really great about this whole conversation.
Yeah, no,
Obviously, this is the coolest we've been to have Aubrey on here.
yeah,
It's you know,
yeah, right.
it's
Well, I
I
mean,
mean,
listen,
This girl in her
it's great.
ADHD with
It's
something like that.
what I find amazing is just, you know, given your background and everything you've done and, you know, all your accomplishments. And, you know, here you are, you know, on our podcast talking about spirits, and not only talking about spirits, but talking about, you know, just um abilities and, you know, an awakening for yourself of like things that have been happening, things that you dismissed or may have, you know, pushed to the side, and now you're bringing up. I just find it all very, very interesting.
it's
Very,
kind of like
very.
the reverse of Stella got her groove back, right? Like Stella
Yeah.
got her groove back by going out and having sex with like a
I'm
younger
just doing it
dude,
the other
and
way
it's like Aubrey's like, I'm getting my groove back by connecting with the spiritual
with
side
ghost
of
dick.
it. Sex. I got sex
Aubrey,
covered. It's the
I
spirit.
got a question for you, Aubrey. Would
Yeah.
you have sex with a ghost?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Look, I didn't even have to think about
Yeah,
it.
you didn't have to
I'm
think
like,
about it. Yeah.
yes,
Yes. Wow.
yes.
Okay.
Actually, so we asked the lamp, we asked the genie in the lamp
Right.
a little question. So I was telling my sister, I've sent her through the stuff, and she was like, oh my gosh. Anyway, so the lamp was going, this is the second time, and when it started going stupid, I was like, oh, he's blown a fuse. You know, he's off.
Right.
Yeah, we're like, oh yeah, oh, okay, Johnny, you went a bit hard there, bro. Anyway, so my sister's like, he kind of looks like a vibrator at the moment. So tell him I'm not really into ghost dick or something like this. So this is my sister who's like much older than me. She's the eldest in the family. So she's going on like that. And I said, hey, Johnny, so my sister just said this and I'm filming it. No, 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 no. She said, and I said, but I've got a feeling you would actually like that. And I think she would too. What do you say? You know? And the lamp had been just a little bit of flicker. It was weird psych. I said, and I was like, yeah, I reckon she'd be down for it, to be honest. I reckon she's worse than me.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but yeah, she saw it and I sent it through to her. She's just dying laughing because she so would. She so would.
Your sister would.
Mhm.
She's into it. That's great.
I absolutely believe she would. Yeah, she's what? She's 65 this year. 65 this year.
Oh my God. Where do you fall in the chain of 11?
7.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
7th.
Yeah.
All right. Is there any significance to the number 7 in the 7th kid? I don't know.
Apparently, they're the most interestingly challenging ones. I always say to Mum, I'm like, Mum, so like, what if I was a twin? You know, and she's like, no, no, not you, no. And I'm so, what? You'd have the others as a twin? She goes, oh no, I couldn't do you as a twin. I was just like,
Uh,
oh, I'll take it as a compliment. But
yeah.
actually, on a quick note, I know that you can chop and change this wherever you want.
No, it's just
Something really cute about my mum. So I've said to her, I'm doing this trip primarily for her. So I should have been in the States. I could have been doing all these other things and already filming again and whatnot. But um, mum doesn't really have much longer to go, right? And we don't know exact times, but she really isn't good. I was like, Mum, I can't, I know this is a trip for you, and I'm finalizing going on your dream trip and going to all the places where your ancestors and dad's ancestors are from. I said, but what if, you die when I'm gone? Like, what am I meant to do? Oh, she goes, well, one thing I can tell you is you are not to come home. You are not to come home. And I was like, what? I said, but like you're sending me off now. Meanwhile, she was in hospital, really bad. And I was just like, but I shouldn't be leaving right now. She goes, no, you must go. You must, you must, you must. The ancestors are calling and I've got all this. And some people could be like, oh, she's delusional right now. But she made sense with what she was saying. So I said, okay, well, you need to let the rest of the family know
No. Yep.
that
Yep.
you have
Yep.
said this, because otherwise I'm going to look like the asshole in the family who didn't come home when you died.
Yeah.
And she goes, okay, done. So made sure that, and she goes, because there are a few people that I'm yet to find the truth on a few things, and you are the only child I know that will hear me. She goes, so I will whisk across to you as a spirit, and I'm going to tell you all the things that you need to find. She goes, because you are the one who will hear me. And I was just like, no pressure. Okay.
wow.
So it
Well,
was kind
that's
of exciting and cute, but then at the same time, it was like, I think later that night, about 12 hours, I was like, it's kind of morbid too. Like, okay, Mum, I'll see you there. Like
yeah, but
that.
she recognizes game
Yeah.
recognizes game, I
Babe.
guess.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
So she's like, I will see you over there and I will send you. And so she even came up with this little way that she's going to send me the messages, how I'll recognize that it's her, and it's kind of cute.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I'll tell
Well,
you what. You know what popped into my head, and take it as you will. All right.
Okay.
And who knows, maybe this is something you can do in the future, imagine hooking up a proximity sensor REM pod to a vibrator.
Well,
You know about
actually,
having
yeah.
sex with ghosts. Seriously, think about it. Imagine hooking up
Right.
a REM pod to a
yeah,
vibrator. So instead of lights and all that,
it sends that up.
it
Right.
vibrates instead. Imagine, like
That
Sure.
would be
if you ever
hilarious.
want to like cross
That
there's a
threshold.
starting point for you.
That is. That
That
is. It'll
is
keep things.
well, yeah, man, right? I mean, especially if it would be curious to see if like, the haunt well, you said you had video of that lamp. I'd love to see that.
I do have
Yeah,
that.
And that
I do have another. I'm going to try and find. There is another little video that I have. I will just have to crop it down though if I do find it, because it is a bit. It's explicit, so I'll
spicy.
actually just crop out the stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A little spicy.
but
yeah.
it is solo material
Sure.
for our OF. But literally, um, you see the lights go. So I had Christmas lights, the little
Sure.
fairy ones that hang all over the walls.
Yeah.
And they were just static ones. So they're just sitting there. And then all of a sudden, as things change, they just go boom, bright, almost to the point that you can hardly see the camera. And then it goes down. And then it goes boom, 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 and then it goes, and everything goes black and then back to normal and normal room. You can literally see the energetic thing of the lights completely change. I was just like,
Wow.
This is during the action.
yes.
So see,
So
that's
of
interesting.
the climatic point.
Yes. Well,
So-
see
so
And
that.
it goes, and it literally
So
goes
during orgasm, the
Yep,
lights
so-
freak out? Is that what you're literally telling me right now?
That's what she's
so I
saying, yeah.
literally have the recording that shows in time and sequence when it goes to the build up, the lights go down to black, then all of a sudden they go boom, and then they just go boom, 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 boom,
Well,
and then
now that's
four,
wild.
and then
Right.
and then goes back to a normal room, and then
Right.
so you can
Now
literally see that. So that shows the sort of energy that a person can put out. So you can imagine if they can do that like that, if we're free of this body.
Yeah, but you're a professional. That's like professional energy.
Yeah, yeah.
That's pro. That's
another
pro.
level.
That's some electric pussy.
You made it to the show.
Yeah.
That's the pro energy level that you get.
Listen,
The lights.
it's something to explore, right?
Yeah.
And who
Yeah.
better to do it than you?
Yeah.
Well,
Think about
you know, maybe bring Stormy in as well. She's into all of this. I don't know if you know that.
Oh no, that would be that's funny.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. She's into all this. She's awesome. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, I
Well-
hope I get to actually meet you guys in the flesh.
Yeah, that'd be
Oh,
awesome.
that'd be great. Aubrey, first of all, this was absolutely wonderful. You're a sweetheart. Thank you for sharing these stories with us. Thank you for coming on, for being so open. Not many would. And you're just so fun, and it's just a new energy. We also like disruptors. We're big disruptor fans. So we just love a different perspective than the same old thing, because I think that's important. It's like, I don't know how you can play in this space and learn about what we're talking, like, energy and spirits, without getting everyone's perspective.
Exactly, a variety of perspectives and experiences.
Yes.
It's all about that human experience.
It's all about that human experience.
For the dead.
So I love it. Thank you so much for being here. I really
thank you.
appreciate you.
Great
Thank you,
interview.
guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I really appreciate you. And I'm coming to clean headstones with you one day, whether you like it or not.
That would
my
be
God,
awesome.
That'd be so great.
That'd be so awesome.
Wouldn't that be fun? That would be so fun.
Yeah. Oh, we'd have a blast.
So great.
Yeah.
And I've watched your technique, so I've got it down. Cool.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well, that's it for another episode of Splintered Spirits. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, stay curious.